So guys, after all this time, I can finally show you some blaster gameplay in Jedi Survivor. This video is going to be completely spoiler free in terms of the story, so don't worry about anything being spoiled. What I will say is I am going to be showing a little bit of gameplay on one planet that hasn't been talked about all that much just yet, and some of you may not even know what's in the game. It has been in trailers, so it's not really a spoiler, but I will just let you know when that's coming. But outside of that, there is literally nothing that you guys haven't seen before, outside of obviously the actual blaster gameplay. Now, I'm going to be showcasing and sort of explaining how the blaster gameplay works. Before we do get into the meat and potatoes of the video, if you guys haven't already, be sure to go and check out the clips channel. I'm going to be posting multiple clips per day over there as well. A lot of smaller stuff like Easter eggs and how to find each stim and all those sorts of things. So like I said, be sure to check that out. The link is in the description, and also keep your eyes peeled on this channel too. I've got a huge video coming tomorrow on a massive cameo in this game that is actually an Easter egg. It's not part of the main story, and I think honestly 90% of people are going to miss this because I finished the game and didn't even know this was in there. And then there's also a video coming the day after that with 10 tips that you should know early on in the game before you get into it. So plenty of content on the way, guys, but without wasting any more time, let's get stuck into a showcase of the new blaster stance. Now, the first thing I'll say is that it is unlocked about a third of the way through the game, I would say. I'm not going to say anything more than that in terms of how you get it or where you get it, but yeah, you should get this roughly a third of the way through, and it is impossible to miss. So it's not something you have to go off the beaten path. It is part of the main story. Now, how it works is obviously you have the saber in your right hand and the blaster in your left hand. You can see over there on the left, there's a little sort of additional part to the UI that shows how many shots you have with the actual blaster. Each of those blue little segments is one blaster bolt, and then you can actually do a charged shot as well that pretty much just uses more ammo but also deals a little bit more damage, and it has a longer charge time. So there's multiple ways to use it. You actually fire the blaster by pressing triangle or Y depending on what you're playing on. Not 100% sure on the keybinds on PC, unfortunately. And then if you hold that, that is how you do the charge shot. Now, when those blaster bolts are depleted, the only way you can actually get it back is essentially by hitting enemies with the saber. So you do have to use the saber if you want to, continuously use the blaster. That is obviously for balancing reasons. If you could just use a blaster, it wouldn't really be all that fun, to be honest. And not only can you recharge it by hitting enemies, but you can also even get a little bit back by blocking. It's not quite as fast as hitting the enemies, but for example, doing a perfect parry, you do get a little bit back. So technically speaking, you could actually just never use your saber other than for blocking, but yeah, it is definitely best to use your saber at the same time. Now, I'm going to be honest, it does feel pretty damn balanced. I was a little bit worried it was going to be like overpowered, make the game a little bit too easy, but it does come with its disadvantages. It's really good for sort of adding a bit of range, and it gives you a bit of extra time to sort of react to enemies by giving you a bit of distance between you and them. It really does help with certain bosses and certain enemy types, but then on the flip side, it does have the negative effect up close where you get a little bit of a slower swing speed. It's definitely the worst of all 5 stances in terms of like using the lightsaber. You can see in the gameplay like Cal's not really swinging it all that fast, so you're going to deal a little bit less damage per second, I guess, with the actual lightsaber, but then you obviously get the benefit of a little bit of added range. Overall, it is really, really fun to use. Obviously, in Star Wars, Jedi don't really use blasters. There's the whole meme of them being uncivilized. That's why they don't use them. The Jedi see themselves as being essentially too good to use blasters. But to be honest, within the story and just within the gameplay, it does kind of make sense for Cal. Yes, he is a Jedi, but he's also a survivor. That's the whole point of the game. And he is just doing what he has to survive. Anything to help him and his friends survive, he's going to do that. So I know a lot of people are a little bit skeptical about it story-wise, but for me personally, it made perfect sense. And also at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you obviously don't have to use it. You can use any of the other 4 stances. But anyway, that is going to be it for this quick little showcase of the new blaster stance. I know this one was short and sweet, but there's so much stuff to cover, and I'm trying to sort of pump out a bunch of videos that are all equally as important as each other, so I can't really drag them on for too long. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out my full review of the game. Once again, that is completely spoiler free. That is already up on the channel, so be sure to go and check that out. And like I said, be sure to sub to the Clips channel as well. There's potentially going to be like more content on the Clips channel, and it's a lot of stuff that you guys may miss. Obviously, a lot of the more important stuff I'll cover on this channel, but a lot of like Easter eggs and the more like cool little hidden elements of the game, that is mostly going to be covered on the Clips channel. So be sure to go and check that out. Drop a sub if you do enjoy the content, and keep your eyes peeled for plenty more Jedi Survivor content. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.